There we go. Now we can be seen and heard. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in for another Lounge Live with me, your host, Lethal Coils. We've got my boy, Georgia Boy, TFV Reviews, you know, the co-host there. Our other co-host, Vaping with CJ, could not be with us tonight due to the show starting as late as it has. For him being in the UK, it's like 2 a.m. So, you know, big love to you, CJ. We'll see you next week. Of course, we've got Daytime Frank, who's our resident stand-in co-host for CJ tonight, and the man of the hour, the guest, Mr. Reaper. Matt, how are you?
Doing all right. How's everyone doing?
Pretty good here. Georgia boy, how was your week?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing great.
Great. How about you, Frank? How you doing? All right?
Had another 13-hour day, but I got through it, and I got to be in Arkansas Friday morning, and I'm in South Carolina now, so I got some driving to do tomorrow.
There you go. Sounds about as busy as I'll be this weekend, too. I've got 2 kids and my brother coming up.
Oh, good times.
Oh, yeah. All weekend.
Sorry.
Gotta
I was
love
getting
it.
my computer set up, sorry.
No worries. No worries. All right, so how we usually start this off, guys, we're going to go ahead and do our buffets. Or if you don't know what that means, then that's, you know, what we're vaping on at the moment. Georgia boy, why don't you go ahead and kick us off for us tonight, bud?
All right, well, I'm rocking my Fogsmith Hammer Mod by Fogsmith David Fugel with my Ragnar. Got some shout out to Nick Dumas for the 4.5 millimeter aliens I got in there. Here we go, and then I'm rocking my Odin DNA version with the trilogy. Got some lethal coils in there. That's it, simple and easy.
Simple and easy. Pass it off, buddy.
Mr. Frank, take it away.
Thank you, sir. I got a Romizer V2 on top of the Ages Legend, my normal setup. In here I have a banana custard. That's from one Aaron Cazzola over in the UK, one of his mixes. And profile with the top side original. And in here I have a mix that I did a video for on Sunday, 2 creams and a fake Mexican, a Trace Leches cake. Made it a little too sweet. I think I'm going to remix it and knock the sweetener down a little bit. Because it's almost like a commercial juice. It's so sweet right now.
Right.
What do you got going on, Matt? What are you vaping on?
I'm using my Speedy Built Customs CCI DNA 250 with the Innokin Aries V2 RTA on top. Vaping on some Early Bird from Phoenix Elixirs, which is a breakfast cereal bar. It's got a little bit of like a pudding note in there, some like fruity notes. It's really good.
Nice.
Oh, good.
Okay. I guess that leaves it to me then. What do I got going on? I got a few different things. First and foremost, we've got that Hammer of God from Suicide Mods with the Steam Crave Titan RDTA on top there, with the 30 mil capacity tank on there. In that we've got, yep, there it is. We've got 74 Cakery blueberry cupcakes. We've also got the Asmodus Lustro with the STNG mouth to lung RDA on top there. In that we've got some guava flaky pastry from Sabores del Encanto, the mouth to lung version. And lastly, we got the clutch with the Equitas. And in that, we're running some brown sugar cookie tonight. And my camera won't... There we go. Now we can focus. And that's what I'm on with. Why don't we go ahead and do some shout-outs real quick. We've got Rescued Reviews in the house. Rajan Sagu, how are you? Rev Debo, an advocate for liberty. Brett Jordan, James Plogger, Subaru Nerd Vapes. Matthew Ayton, how are you? Jangles, how you doing? David Flannery. Vaping with CJ's in chat. How are you, bro?
What's up, CJ?
Who else we got coming down? Vape Boy and Real Stevie J. Net Reality. Ian B. Flavor Incorporated. How are you? Nice to see you guys here. Satan as well as always. We got the Reaper in chat as well. Awesome. So that does it for that. Now, we're going to roll right into our next segment, which is getting to know our guest. Basically, what we do for the first time we meet somebody here on as a guest is we like to get a little story from them as to how they got into vaping, what it was that got them to kick cigarettes, and kind of how it brought you to where you are today in the community.
All right. Well, I'll give you the very short version because it's a long, intricate story. But make a long story short, I started smoking cigarettes when I was 8 years old. I smoked anywhere between pack to 3 packs from the time I was 8 till the time I was 22. Gave up a lot of activities, the sports, hanging out with people. I was the smelly kid that always smelled like cigarettes. I didn't care. Many times I chose many times I chose cigarettes over food. If I only had a couple bucks in my pocket. And I actually stumbled on vaping by accident back when it was in the mall. It was just something that I could do indoors. I didn't have to go outside to smoke a cigarette. I would vape inside and smoke outside still. I did that for a little while, and then it got into the dripping 510 cartomizers, and that kind of started taking over a little bit more. Better flavor, better hit. And then when I was 22, I got my MVP 2.0 with an aero tank from Kanger. It was the first tank with adjustable airflow. And that was it. I found a fruity menthol combination, and it was just off to the races. And from there, I just vaped as much as I was smoking, and then I quit smoking altogether and worked in some shops. And then, kind of just got into it.
Nice.
Got involved with advocacy shortly after my second shop I was working at, and joined the Legion, learned a lot from them, and the rest has been pretty much just history.
What was it that got you really into the advocacy side of things? I'm very curious to know, because you are, the way I put it, is one of the loudest voices for advocacy that we have, and it's interesting to me to see how someone gets so involved into it and what it was that drew them into that.
So I think what it really was self-preservation at first. I was working at a shop, and we had a possibility of I don't know the exact regulation. I want to say it was a ban on advertisement, a ban on new vape shops opening up, which we weren't sure were going to cycle back into pre-existing shops. Basically, they wanted us in industrial areas, and there aren't that many in that area.
Right.
So I kind of got involved, and I spoke for the first time at a hearing at it was the town of Amityville, on Long Island, New York, and I spoke my piece. I read a written part from another former advocate at the time, and started engaging with people a little bit here and there. And then once I was a part of Legion and CV, going after the child appealing labels, going after the improper branding, and seeing that type of attitude that was around in the industry, it kind of just lit a fire. And I was just like, no, I'm not gonna let this happen. I'm not gonna let the industry be taken down because a bunch of people want to play fuck games. Mm-hmm. And I used to be very angry. I didn't have a controlled message. I didn't have composure. I was like a firecracker. I just went off, and I started attacking people even when I didn't have the full story. And then, Legion kind of molded me and taught me control, taught me focus, and since then, I've really been focusing my message and the cause directly to whether it's a flavor ban, whether it's a unreasonable tax, whether it's the T21.
Right.
And it was actually through the vaping politics that I started kind of getting involved with other politics. I helped push Larry Sharp, who was a libertarian running in New York State. I got to meet him. I went to a couple of his rallies, and he's a great guy, supports vaping. Then I started kind of seeing the world differently. I started seeing it as not so black and white, but just endless shades of gray, that there is no just simple answer for anything.
Right.
Besides eradicate mankind and let us start over. But
Right.
But yeah, and then started going to rallies, helped plan rallies. We started the UVA and did the rally in DC. I've been to Washington State. I've been to Nebraska. I've been to Massachusetts.
Yeah, you've been to Boston. I was gonna say.
Been all over trying to at least inspire other people, because frankly, I don't want to keep, being the only voice. I don't want to be the loudest voice. I want others to take up that call. I want others to do it in their areas.
Right.
Absolutely.
But I mean, yeah, that's about it. I mean, it's the short and sweet version. 'Cause otherwise, it goes really detailed. There's really the extremely detailed version or the short and sweet version.
Your journey is long, my friend.
And
What's up, Los Vapors
Yes,
Boricua? Sorry about that.
Boricua, what's up, my friend?
How you doing, Chaos Drama? How's it going, buddy? That is quite a story, and it is very interesting to me, because I know that you and I have met during. Al, you and I don't even think I met you at NVE last year in March. I know I met you at DC, and I met you again in Boston, both during rallies. I try to do as much as I can, to get to any place that's having a get together like that, that's within reasonable distance. Do you know if I know that they were rescheduling the DC rally. Do you know if we've made any headway with that?
It's all pending on
What happens?
Washington DC right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're ready to go. It's just literally waiting on National Park Services and the White House and everything to
Reopen.
be on the same page. When it does get announced, it's going to be very short notice. It's not going to be like last time where there was 3 months to plan and make everything happen. This is going to be 2 weeks probably. I can't even,
2 weeks.
I don't want to give a number, but it's going to be very short. But we're going to need as many people as possible.
That's where I was ready to go. I was ready to go for that first date for this rally, and bang, and I'm like, oh, what the hell?
I actually have vacation time in for that one.
So
a lot of people have vacation time. A lot of people put in for it. Airbnbs were booked, hotels were booked, plane flights were booked. Everyone had everything ready to go, and then
bang,
just outside of our control. We're just gonna make do with what we can, and we need to make an impact because September is fast approaching.
Yeah.
I'll take my big ass and I'll drop down there and sleep at 10 if I got to. I mean, and we all got to do that. It's the way it's going to have to be nowadays. Just with COVID and everything going on, because that, in my opinion, the government is going to use this to their advantage to try to keep us from rallying.
Well, so part of the reason why it was so successful last time was we had a clear one point voice. Sorry, we had one voice united. Basically, we had one mission, one goal, and that was to not do a federal flavor ban.
Mm-hmm.
And that worked. You know, I mean, the fact that Marine One flew overhead and everybody held up their signs at exactly that moment was, I mean, that was probably the climax of the entire event, and the event didn't even start officially yet.
Right.
Magical in a sense.
But you know, we need that number, if not more so, at the next one. We don't want to just parade down DC. We don't want to just have like a protest, unorganized, completely chaos. We want to work with the right people.
Right.
Because that's how our voice is heard. You know, have the federal groups working in the background at the same exact time. You know, have the connections in the White House to work with National Park Services, leave that place cleaner than it was when we got there, which I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who did pick up after themselves. There was virtually no cleanup afterwards.
Yep.
And National Park Service has said that multiple times, how grateful they were, and they haven't had a rally like that, that simple, you know. Come in, do your thing, pack up, leave. It looks like we were never there.
But the organizational structure for that rally was like perfectly, almost timed out the whole stretch of the way. And if you don't have any organizational structure and an organization as far as Vapers, because your group, the Vaping Legion, it won't work. It'll be unsuccessful because it's going to be chaos. Like you said, it's going to be protest and chaos, and it's going to be a mess.
Right. We don't want to be the asshole vapors that go down there and start screaming and yelling and breaking shit and blowing big clouds, because that's not the image we want to portray. That's not what we're about.
Yep.
Oh.
And we had a couple of people like that were at the DC rally that had to be told several times over, no big clouds, no big clouds. You know, it's we want to present it in a respectful way, but yet get our point across. You know.
Well, I don't want to tell someone, you know, if that's their style of vaping, taking huge hits off of, you know, drippers or rebuildables.
Right.
I don't want to tell them no, but be respectful about it. Blow down, blow up.
Exactly.
Right.
If someone's looking at you with a camera like this, don't go, yeah.
Yep.
Because then you're just feeding them. You're giving them what they want.
Yep.
I mean, we all know if you take a vape and you hold it in for a few seconds longer, the vapor's usually a little less.
And they did that exact same thing in Boston. They did that exact thing. They did the very next day. You'd see it in the newspapers, and they had pictures of the guys that were there with the clouds, and you know, it was all over the front page.
Boston was pretty good though. We definitely did have a decent turnout. And,
we had a decent turnout. The one that you were at, the first.
Oh yeah, no, the smoke shop one. Yeah, that one was a little.
That first one was a little bit less than desired.
Savory.
Yeah. Yep. That could have been a lot more. We had.
And the one, I think the one that Deuces Jack was at, and I think M-Turk, the one that he went to, where they kind of had a few videos outside, there really wasn't a whole lot of people there, which I was surprised.
Which one was that? Because I know they both went to New York. That one was oh my god, the New York rallies have been complete garbage.
Yeah, I
New York
mean,
City ones.
it was the one where the people in the yellow shirts come up that were supporting the menthol cigarette ban.
Yeah, that's the one I was at. That was the New York City flavor ban.
Oh, that was one in Manhattan.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's one where Spike threw the money down.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Thank you, Daytime.
Yeah, that one was abysmal, and then we had another one before that was almost even worse. If you could imagine that, you know.
The health committee one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I remember seeing the video. It was probably your video on Facebook, and that one just looked like it was you and
like
it was
three other
basically
people.
Yeah, going up against like 1,000 people that want to kill us.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, that's just, but that's the way it is, you know. And I have to remind myself all the time that we as vapors are no different than when we were smokers. We didn't care when we smoked cigarettes what was happening. Oh, cigarette prices went up? All right, curse under our breaths and pay the damn money for it. Oh, you can't smoke here? All right, fine, I'll smoke over there instead. We were just very complacent. We didn't really care. And that attitude transitions over to vaping. There's an amount of people that aren't into it for the hobbyistic side. They're not into it the way we are. But those are the people that make up 90% of the vaping population. So,
Probably more than that.
yeah.
I mean, you know, maybe 10% of us do something, and maybe 10% of that actually do something, and then maybe 10% of that actually go out there, and then and it just dwindles down and down and down until it's only a handful of people that literally give everything for it.
Yeah.
But that's also, you know, that's to show the stuff of that person. You know, not everyone is created equally as far as advocating. Not everyone is created equally as far as their mindset is on things. You know, people have their own lives, and they don't see vaping as something worth doing anything for. But you see, for me, it's not just about vaping. It's about individual freedoms. It's about the freedom of choice. It's about, you know, having someone tell you what you can and can't do. I mean, we see people blow up all the time about the mask situation, about anything else in politics. We see people get up in arms about 480,000 people dying a year, and no one bats an eye because it's become socially accepted. It's become, you smoke, you're gonna die. That's it.
Right.
And I don't care if someone smokes or not. You know, that is their choice. I just want there to be the option for them to use a 95% less harmful product than combustible tobacco.
Right. And that's what it's all about. You know, it's the freedoms, the liberties that they're taking from us. That's where I've always seen it, is just the, yes, it pertains to vaping most exclusively right now, but in the grand scheme of it all, it's them taking away more and more of our rights. We're not allowed to parent our kids anymore. You know, they're pretty much doing it for us. And to that aspect, they're actually treating us like children as well. And I'm 38 going on 39 years old now. I'm well over child status, and I would like to make the right decision for myself and make the choice to put whatever I want into my own body, and not have somebody holding my hand saying, no, you can't do that.
And
Now,
that's,
go ahead, Jeremy.
no, you go ahead, Frank. Go ahead.
All right, Matt. It's now July 1. What's New York looking like besides what we see? What do you see on your end?
I see shops closing left and right. I have seen about 5 to 10 shops closing in Suffolk and Nassau County together. I mean, well, Nassau County already had a flavor ban before this one went into effect.
Yep.
Well, with the full-on flavor ban, it just kind of cemented it. There's shops that I remember going to when I first started vaping are now gone. You know, some of the first cloud comps I ever been to in those shops are gone. You know, people I've developed relationships with over the years, gone. And then I see, you know, some shops taking a stand. I see some shops not caring, selling products anyway. I see shops talking about different interpretations of the law. I see loopholes that people are using. But what I'm seeing is the breakdown of what once was a community out here. What I'm seeing is a lot of anger and a lot of fear taking over people, and now the blame game's being thrown back and forth between this advocacy group and this advocacy group. Let me just squash everything right now, because I was just reading a post before I hopped on here. VTA and NYSVA and John Glosner of Demand Vape all tried to stop this from happening in their own individual ways. They tried. We almost had everyone working in the same direction, but the way that it was done, the way that Cuomo did this, was put it in the budget for New York State. And if any of you were watching that live feed, one of the legislators said, even if this becomes FDA approved, we will amend the current bill to still ban it. This was not going to be beaten. This was not going to be something that is going to get overturned right away, if at all. This is the reality. Everybody did what they could who did do something. And for the people that are bitching and didn't do anything, just look in the mirror when you want to blame someone. So I don't care what advocacy group it was. We had people from all over the country trying to help New York out. When you have that much corruption in the government, none of it's going to matter.
New York's one of the most corrupted. I mean, when they go in under the night sky and push a flavor ban through,
in the middle of quarantine, on top of that,
and that was the plan. You know, they as soon as the quarantine was implemented, oh, this is our chance.
Yep.
You know, that's what they were thinking.
And if you didn't show up or call in to argue it, your vote was automatically counted as yes.
Yep.
So nobody showed up. The governor just sat there in his mansion and said, "Oh, nobody's calling." Signed it into play.
Yep.
So that's the reality for New York right now. We are screwed. But I look at states like Massachusetts and Rhode Island that have dealt with this before we did. And I see the impact that happened there. I see shops shutting down. I see shops trying to sell stuff under the table, you know, hey, call me, I got that stuff. Don't come in the shop, I'll come to you. I see that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the future that we are looking at in general.
Yep.
We started this industry, black market. We started this industry in our kitchens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly where we're going back to. Whether it's through a flavor ban, PMTA, overtaxation, whatever it is, Pandora's box has been opened. It's not being closed. People know how to make e-liquid.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, some people shouldn't be making it because they're getting people sick, but nonetheless, it's out there.
Yep.
Yeah, the first thing that when the word of the federal flavor ban first broke, that day I had 5 people call me up and say, "This is what I'm vaping on. Can you replicate this for me, and how much do you want for it?" And I'm just like, calm down, relax, stock up. But it's not over yet. And these are people. A couple of people were in New York, and then they got a little bit more nervous. I pretty much taught them how to mix. And
well, let's just be honest, though. As far as New York goes, New York is a different, in my opinion, New York is in itself is a different ballgame. I mean, that in some ways, because of how crooked the government is in New York, they did a lot of shady stuff, in my opinion, to do what they did. The governor of New York did not want vaping in his state, period.
No.
And there was nothing nobody could do to change his mind about that. But we're starting to see, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems that we're starting to see some tides turn in other states and in other areas of the country.
Well, what I'll say to that is stay vigilant, though. Just because
Absolutely.
just because it looks like things are changing does not mean that they're going to change. And
Right.
the reason I say that is some of you might be aware of a post that popped up 2 days in a row that both got shut down very quickly. Someone claiming that vaping put them in the hospital with some whatever it was. I don't remember the exact terminology that they were using. But after everyone was attacking this person, calling them a liar and me included, I sat back and I looked at it a little bit more. And I kept reading, my doctor told me that this was from vaping. My doctor said this. My doctor said that. And reading through the comments and other people saying things, they were saying, my doctor said this. My doctor said that. I'm believing my doctor. My doctor knows what's best. And this is going to propose a huge problem because what we're going to start seeing, we've already seen it, doctors lying in testimonies, doctors lying on oath because they're pushing their agenda, which is money. Big pharma money.
Yep.
Big pharma and big tobacco go hand in hand. We all know that. But we're so busy attacking big tobacco through MSA, through Truth Initiative, Campaign for Tobacco, all that.
Oof.
We're forgetting the big pharma side.
Slip in the back door.
And big pharma has a lot more power than big tobacco does. So until we address that issue, I don't think we're going to see any changes. I mean, look what they tried doing in Australia.
Yep. And then they had it pushed back to January.
But that doesn't mean that it's over.
No.
So that could be a very real situation, which even Tristan was talking about happening years ago. Oh, everyone who's saying DIY, we're good, we're good. Wait until they ban nicotine. Wait until you have to have a license to get nicotine. Right now, you can get a fine in New York for having flavored nicotine products over 5 ounces.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
If you have over 5 ounces of flavored nicotine products and the cops stop you for whatever reason and they see that, they can give you a fine.
That's on your person, correct?
That is on your person. That is on your person. That is in your vehicle.
Right.
I don't know if it's in your house and the cops come in your house for whatever reason.
See, I'm glad I don't live in New York. God.
Well, it's everywhere.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
New York has got the worst of it. Let's just be honest. New York has gotten the worst of it. I mean,
No, they've got it bad.
Not yet. Wait till Cali hits.
well, but as of right now, in my opinion, right now, this current situation we're in, current moment, New York has gotten the shit in its stick by the governor of New York.
Well, New York's just following suit of what the other governors did. You have to remember the whole Northeast governor
Charlie Baker, fucking
connection.
Yep.
And New York was almost last. That's the ironic thing, you know. Massachusetts did it first, and that corruption. No, actually, Massachusetts holds the corruption, because watching that argument between the legislators, asking for 10% of the MSA payments to go towards helping smokers and vapors find alternative ways, and they said no. They're keeping it in the general funding. We watched that happen live. That video is still live. That video is still up on the Vaping Legion network. We watched Massachusetts representatives say no to using MSA money for what it is supposed to be used for.
Yep. And that's corruption through and through.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what the MSA is supposed to go to begin with? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Says
And then now they want to start using it, try to start using it for that.
Cuomo got Baker involved. He started the movement with Bloomberg in the Northeast. Okay.
Yeah, it was Cuomo got Bloomberg involved. Bloomberg started working against New York and then started donating to federally through the different ABC NGOs that I call them,
Mm-hmm.
American Cancer Society, American Heart Association, American Lung Association.
Yep.
Just pick one. And then the governors had their whole little governor council thing where they originally it was supposed to be about natural disasters and legalization of marijuana. Well, we all know what they really start talking about.
One question for you, Matt. Have you noticed more of one side or the other that is more anti-vaping from what you've seen in the trenches of the advocacy support of it? Democrat versus Republican?
I hate turning it into a partisan issue because, we have people like Baker in Massachusetts. He's a Republican.
Good point.
And then we have Cuomo, who's a Democrat. And I've seen Democrats support vaping. I've seen Republicans want to get rid of vaping. It's statistically, yeah, I'd say that Democrats are more prone for overregulation, and overregulation leading to prohibition.
Right.
But I just don't trust politicians.
This is
Democrat,
why I
Republican.
vote.
The only party I have seen that is pro-vaping is Libertarian.
Yep.
Thank you.
I mean,
That's true.
That's
true.
And that's why I vote Libertarian. I know a lot of people say that it's just a waste of a vote, but I don't vote for the Democratic or Republican nominees. The delegates. I go for the Libertarian, the ones that I actually stand up for the morals and ideals of. It's got to be better than what we're dealing with now. To get more libertarians in the seats of the political divisions, senators, governors, congressmen. I think we need to see more libertarians in those seats.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I was really hoping that Larry Sharp was going to take out Cuomo, but that was something that just didn't happen. And now we have Joe running in the presidency, and here's the reality: you are never going to find a politician that does everything that you like.
No.
There is always going to be things you don't like.
They're human. It's their nature.
Yep.
And humanity sucks.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I agree with you 100%.
When Joe checked the two boxes I was worried about, my Second Amendment rights and my vaping rights, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
How much you want? How much you need this quarter? I'll throw something at you.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. But for everyone who says it's a wasted vote or it's going to split the votes, that's not possible if both parties are voting towards the third party. It's not splitting the votes. A vote for one person does not mean a vote for another person. It physically does not work that way.
Right.
I look at it this way. For the Trump haters that don't feel good about Biden, hey, check out this candidate. Here you go. You're not voting. You're not voting for Trump, and you're not voting for Biden. Here's somebody that that may fit the bill for you. Check out what
Bernie
he's got going on.
Sanders. Bernie
Everyone
Sanders.
says anyone but Trump. Okay, what about Joe?
Exactly.
Everyone who says, you know what, I'm tired of Trump. But I don't want to vote for Biden. I'm just not going to vote. Vote for Joe.
No, exactly.
I mean, the whole political thing's a joke anyway. We all know that it's not even the higher corruption than politics is what's controlling everything. This shit's all fucking predetermined. It's all worked around. Money, corporations, people that we don't even know exist are behind this pulling strings.
Right.
the whole idea of politics is to make you think that you have
Yeah.
some control, you know. All right, do you want the 13-inch strap on or do you want the 15-inch strap on?
That's about the only choice you get.
One way or another, someone's getting fucked.
I mean,
exactly.
both are going to hurt, both are not going to feel good, but you can say that you only got fucked with a 13 compared to a 15.
And for an extra $5.99, we'll give you a little bit of lube.
No lube. Your blood becomes lube.
Go hard or go home. Advocate for Liberty says money is the root of all this oppression. You're absolutely right. 110,000% I agree with that. And Matt, you've said it before. MSA blood money. I know it's
Not even about the MSA blood money, though. That's the thing. You know, I used to think that it was all about the MSA blood money. It goes deeper than that. You know, you have these NGOs that claim to be nonprofits, which we all know how nonprofits actually work, most of them.
right.
You take away the thing that they were created to fight. Those people are out of jobs. They don't get any more grants. They don't get any more
Anything.
funding. You know, you take away something that's killing people. Everyone that invested money into fighting what's killing people loses their money. So it's not just
Good
about
point to
MSA
make.
money. It's about taking jobs and money away from those that claim to be about protection.
Right.
You know, what I consider vaping to be is the condom. You know, you have everyone saying, well, just quit. Abstinence. No, because that's not fun. I want the less harmful alternative.
Yep.
It's not the same thing, but you know what? It's better than nothing.
Yeah. I've actually heard quite a few people refer to it as not quitting smoking, just changing brands. And that's not exactly something I can agree with. I don't really agree with that terminology.
No.
It's not.
Well,
'cause-
unless you're using a IQOS.
unless you're using the
Then
Icos.
yes,
Oh.
you're just changing the brand. Because
No.
this right here does not have 5,000 different chemicals in it that can give us cancer and make us sick.
You know?
Now I go to my local gas station and they have the little video board there when you're pumping your gas and all your advertisements. Well, you know, living down the street from RJ Reynolds, you know, there's always an ad on there now for their snus, and it says, you know, no batteries, no chargers, just, you know, straight nicotine, you know, flavored nicotine. And I don't hear anybody complaining about that stuff. I don't hear anybody saying, oh, well, we need to ban the flavors in that.
Well, because snus is still tobacco, so the same
Yeah.
people still make money from it.
Exactly.
Still goes under that umbrella.
Now,
I mean, I haven't done my research enough on snus to have a full opinion on it, except for the fact that, well, if it's being pushed by RJ Reynolds and these other tobacco companies, and there's tobacco in it,
I've used
And
snus.
I've used it.
It works a little bit
Yeah.
if you just want the nicotine.
I mean, it's low milligrams of nicotine. It's like 3s and 4s, and
Mhm.
or it's like 4s and 8s or something like that. I mean, it's not real high compared to, you know, a pod, you know, compared to a Juul, compared to a Alto or Views, whatever the fuck you want to call
Alto
one from
Views,
RJ.
I mean, I tried
Yeah,
it. Look,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
I was a dipper. I was a dipper for 20 years, or 15, 20 years, somewhere around there. And before I switched back to vaping this time, I tried snus for a good month.
mm,
And I found myself, I would use a snus at work, maybe a couple of them, but once I got off, I still was craving that dip, that nicotine from my dip. So, and I switched back to vaping 2 years ago, coming up, and it was instant. It was instant satisfaction, instant gratification. You know, instant. I wasn't that same day. I wasn't craving a dip.
Because you were dipping. So you were doing the same thing that you would be doing with dip that
Yes.
someone who is a smoker would do with vaping. That's what I find that really interesting when I talk to people who say, I didn't really smoke, but I was a huge dipper. And so you go from just having something, in your lip to now you're actually
Inhaling.
smoking something, and I could see how that would be less attractive for that person. That's why I truly believe that snus, I think, is a great product. It helps the people that use it. I have no issue with any harm reduction product. I mean, THR for life. But I don't think that these should be the only options. I think vaping definitely has its place in the harm reduction realm. And it seems that greater powers don't want that to happen. So now we have to fight.
Now, speaking of harm reduction, you bring up a good point, and that's actually a question that I've had discussions with other people on several times, numerous occasions. What are your thoughts on limiting nicotine amounts? Like, for instance, say, like, I know, big name, it's gotten a lot of flack, Juul, Fix, pods or disposables that, put out 50 milligram nic strength, nic salts or whatever. What is your opinion on those? Do they have a place?
Yes. Simply because I don't blame the product. I blame the incompetent jackass that's abusing the product.
Okay.
I think the Juul, when it was created, was the perfect replacement to a cigarette. And those that just wanted to continue that basic ease of use, throw out a pod, put a new one in. I started using a Logic, something that you just replaced the pod, which was a screw in.
Yeah, the little cigarette one will look into the device.
I think that they definitely have a place, but no one wants to talk about that. Everyone wants to blame them, And I'm saying taking away the politics side, taking away the business politics side of it,
Right.
the stuff that Juul has done to us. I'm looking at it strictly as the product itself. I think it was created to be the perfect replacement to cigarettes. Now, when we start talking about companies that are running 7%, when we start talking about companies that are running 6% and 7.5 and 8% salt nicotine, those companies are not being created for the smoker. They're being created for the vapor, and they're created to join the hype.
They're trying to one up. Yeah. See, I started with what I bought was abuse, because I wasn't going to spend at the time. The Juul was like almost 60. Well, it was over $60. You bought the starter kit for like $54.99, and then you had to buy a pack of pods. So you're looking at $20 for a pack of pods. And I was like, that's just I'm wanting to. At the time, I was wanting to save money, and so I bought the little Vuse Alto for like $15, and it worked. Which, of course, I found the hobbyist side of vaping, and I dove headfirst into it, and it's become a hobbyist and harm reduction for me. But the Vuse worked for me, and it was 50. It got me off my got me to quit dipping, and I thought I had cancer in my jaw, so I needed to quit.
That's a good sign that maybe I should quit.
Yeah. So luckily it turned out to be not cancer, but still they thought I had cancer in my jaw, so I went to another alternative, and it was a Vuse Alto, and it worked, and I'm thankful for that.
See, maybe that's where I've got it. How do I want to phrase that? That's maybe where I have it a little differently, because when I first started vaping, I went from the Smock Stick V8 kit with the big Baby Beast tank on there, vaping 3 milligram, coming off of 2-pack a day habit for 22 years. I went straight to 3 milligram strength nic, and
wow, from 2 packs to 3 milligram.
Yeah, and that killed it for me. That got me through it. So for me, it's like, my question has always been, is there a need for such high milligram nic salts? And that's been an internal question that I've been dealing with, for a while now. It's, how do I feel about these products? Do I think that they really have a place on the market? Do I not? It all comes down to that experience that I had, and that's kind of putting up a block in my mind saying, no, that doesn't really.
Well, that's because everybody's different.
Yep.
So there are the people that, can use 3 milligram to quit using that's not a starter device I would definitely ever recommend to anybody. But a TFV8, with a battery. There are people that can quit like that. But then there's other people that need that high milligram mouth to lung feeling like they're smoking a cigarette, because that's what they've just come to be used to.
Right.
Dimmy and Phil, they are huge advocates for the MTL, restricted lung users, the smokers. I mean, this entire time in this industry, the majority of the industry forgot about the smokers.
Yeah.
Smokers aren't going out buying mech mods. Smokers aren't going out buying RDAs. We are trying to survive by selling to ourselves. And then we flood the market with selling products that we don't use anymore. But the smoker is the one that the focus of the industry should have been on the whole time.
Right.
We created this hobbyistic side, this hobbyistic community. Bigger, better mods, more clouds, more flavor, more of what we want. We're already vaping. Okay, what about the smokers?
Yep.
So the reason why Juul grew to be so big, because they targeted the fucking smoker. They targeted what the vape industry forgot about. And as far as anyone really talking about what do we need, well, now you're walking down a very strict path. What do you need for firearms? What do you need for knives? What do you need for car attachments? It's, what is the purpose that you are using this for? And I'm not talking about amendment rights before anybody starts getting butthurt and goes after me about, I'm pro Second Amendment. What I'm saying is, though, what you need versus what you want are two different things.
Right.
Or what you think others need, or what others should be using. Now, what? You're telling someone how they can and can't vape? That's a very tricky road that I don't think a lot of people think about when they start talking about it.
Very good points.
If it comes down, and at the end of the day, what does it fucking matter? Because none of this has anything to do with what we can and can't do.
Right.
The government is going to say what you can and can't do. That's the reality. We can bitch and whine and say, we don't think there should be salt nicotine. The government's going to go, okay, we agree with you, but we don't think there should be flavors either. Exactly. Stop telling people what they don't need.
Right.
Because there are people that are watching that. And they're using these terms that they don't understand what they mean. They're getting half of the sentence and going, yes, and grabbing that, and then slapping it in legislation somewhere. Just because you don't think someone needs it doesn't mean you should say that you don't think someone needs it. Because all that does is cause animosity. How about let's focus on, what do vapors need to do? Stop worrying about what vapors need. What do vapors need to do? And that is to fight back.
Absolutely.
But to hear you say that, it really resonates with me, though. The fact that it seems like a lot of this has happened, and I didn't really look at it that way until now. It's because we've the vaping industry as a whole forgot about the smokers, and it's sad to say now that I look at it. It's caused a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Because it's been about, and the reason why I say that is because of the fact that I've heard several reviewers talk about how people want to, people are requesting to review more RDAs, review more RTAs. Oh God, another pod. But then again, these companies are trying to do these China companies are trying to do what Juul did. They're trying to flood the market with smoking or quitting smoking aids such as mouth to lung style devices.
Because it worked. It's because what people wanted.
Makes
And
sense.
stop blaming companies like Juul or Salt Nicotine for attracting youth.
Right.
The only people you should blame are the fucking dumbass crotch goblins that are going out there and getting the shit illegally and abusing it.
Or their dumb
Exactly.
parents that are buying it for
And the
them.
parents,
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
I've been saying, take a gun, put it on the table, load it, cock it. It ain't gonna do a goddamn thing until someone picks it up and uses it.
Right.
Put a Juul
Yep.
on the table. It ain't gonna be used until someone uses it. Stop blaming the product. And the same people that are blaming these people are giving these fucked up companies with child appealing labels a pass.
Yeah. I've seen
No,
that.
it's freedom. It's express yourself. They shouldn't be in vape shops anyway. But get rid of these. The kids are using them.
Right.
Yeah, make up your fucking mind, one way or the other. It's like, it's basically like from the start. They were like, oh well, this stuff, we're going to take it away from being online. It's just going to be in vape shops. Then all of a sudden, well, we're going to shut down on vape shops.
Yep.
And it's like, sorry about your luck. And it's like, I mean, fortunately for me, and it's just because of where I live, I know I can go to sleep at night and know that I'm still gonna have my vaping rights in the morning. That's thanks to Sherwin and North Carolina Vaping Coalition.
Yeah, you guys in Tennessee are pretty much the safest bets for vaping.
And that's with a Democrat. That's the way he's handling the whole COVID-19 thing's a mess in North Carolina.
That's also
Georgia-
down the road from fucking Reynolds.
Yes.
Georgia, I gotta say, Georgia governor's handling things pretty decent too. He's not really.
No, he's been decent. I mean, that was one of the first states that started to open restaurants and stuff up, and you guys really haven't had the spike that North and South Carolina's had. And the Florida, I saw Florida firsthand last week. The reason why their numbers are as high as they are, because they're giving
Everyone's
out. They're giving out gift cards for people to go get tested. You could pull up into a shopping mall, don't even have to get out of your car. These retirees, and so instead of going to get their blue plate special, they're going and getting an Applebee's gift card for going and just getting a little swab done. They ain't got nothing else better to do.
So in return, they're
too hot.
gonna flood Applebee's, and they haven't got their results back yet.
I just find it funny that everyone's now talking about like, oh my God, we have to wear a mask when we go out, and I'm sitting here in New York like, y'all just getting to this point?
Yep.
We've had to fucking have masks when we've gone out for fucking months.
Yep. I know Haverhill is sitting right next to where I live right now. They're still under mask ordinance. You can't go anywhere without a mask. Here in my town, it's not. Sorry, just had read one of the comments in
I
chat.
just saw that.
And now he's completely thrown me off of the train of thought that I was just on.
Which one was it?
That was Advocate for Liberty.
Oh, there it is.
Yes, hearings though. Are there any hearings that you're planning on attending soon?
I don't know when the fuck hearings are opening up again. I mean,
That's a good point.
We're
Yeah.
kind of like at a standstill. I know Montana did hearings. I know there's virtual hearings in places.
Virtual hearings too.
The problem with virtual hearings, though, is they're not as effective. You're not. the presence isn't there. I mean, going to Washington State for the flavor ban hearing for the executive order, I mean, 99% of that room was vapors. I mean, they were packed all the way into the back.
Yeah.
And that, you know, in an actual realistic situation, would have moved people, if not me screaming and yelling at them. But not my proudest moments interrupting legislative people and basically getting on my hands and knees and begging. But I miss going to hearings, and I hope they open up again soon, because once everything gets figured out with this whole COVID situation, hopefully we'll get back on track and get back into advocacy. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
and for everyone who's complaining that they're advocacy fatigued out,
Had a break now.
yeah, you have a break. Get ready, get your suit prepared, get your dress prepared, whatever you wear, and once we can go out and start making noise again, get ready, because things are going to start happening, especially because all these states are using COVID money for other things, and they have to replace the COVID money, so they're going to go after the vaping, so they're going to, you got to keep paying fucking Peter to pay Paul, robbing Peter to pay Paul, whatever the fucking term is.
Now you have Chicago using BLM as a guise to go ahead and push a flavor ban and the menthol ban, and it's like, come on, right? Really?
The race card when it comes to vaping is just, it's, I want to say it's laughable, but it's not, because of how scary it is. It's pathetic. And I make sure to tell Truth Initiative and anyone else on Twitter whenever I see that, how pathetic they are. Also, if you guys are not on Twitter, get the fuck on Twitter, create an account, start hopping on posts. I mean, that's what we need right now, because politicians, they pay attention to Twitter.
Hashtag not a bot.
And you don't even have to be creative. You can take what everyone else is doing and just hit that little thing that says retweet.
Repost.
And just retweet. Yeah, retweet. And just get
Retweet
it out there.
or copy and paste it. And if you do copy and paste any of my stuff, the only thing I will ask is you say copy and paste it from Grim Elliottini. That's it. Because I can write some pretty crazy shit, and I don't want you to get in trouble for something I wrote. When I start calling people pathetic and sucking at the teat of their big tobacco masters, and mentioning stuff like you are slaves to money, you want to make sure that that you're ready for the backlash from that.
You've made your name in the Twitter world as far as some of your comments. Everybody knows. They know you now.
I think last week with Australia, or last couple of weeks, reposting, retweeting, I was 20, 30, 40 times a day. So I see something, okay, retweet, let's just get it out there and get it in, let everybody see it, whether they're in the community or not. Because that's what we need. We need the non-vapors. We need, like the two lawyers that you saw standing out in front of their house in St. Louis that could give a fuck about us. They're who we need to hear our message and to learn the truth. They're the people that we need. We need the ones that don't even have a stake in the game whatsoever. We need them to know the truth and know that the government's been lying to them since day one. And when they find that out, they're going to be pissed.
I mean, that's the thing. Everyone's down for a good, the government's fucking us, let's fight back. Well, guess what? The government's fucking the vape industry too, so where's our support?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why and this is one of the things that drives me absolutely insane, and I've stayed really quiet about a lot of things with this. I don't give a fuck what your political opinion is. I don't give a fuck what your opinion is about anything that's going on right now. All I care about is if you are a vapor, your ass needs to be supporting the vape industry. You can argue about all the other shit later, but right now, this is what we need to focus on. Because, or if you don't want to focus on it right now, fine, just argue amongst yourselves, but then be together when it comes for vaping. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many people I've seen completely split over everything that's going on right now.
Right. Yeah, because that second Boston rally that, the one I met you at, that was just after DC. But I went to the first one, and I was very underwhelmed by the amount of people that had showed up. But then going to DC was something much greater. I saw a whole lot more people there, and just to see everybody there under the same unified purpose, the same reason. We were all together, one voice, loud as hell.
All beefs were put to the side. I
Yeah.
mean, fucking Brian Berber from Candy King was there. If no one knew that, Brian Berber from Candy King, Legion's like #1 punching bag, was there, and Tristan embraced him and thanked him for being there.
Mm-hmm.
We can kill each other after.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's win first.
Yep. Absolutely.
And coming together to focus on the win together can also, create new relationships and amend relationships, and who knows, maybe something good could come out of it. Candy King could decide to redo their labels and make them more, who knows?
No, that damage is already done.
Yeah.
I know, but it was still, you know what I'm trying to say.
I've been
There
a
could be
big
other relationships that could be amended.
I've always had a big problem with labeling and marketing. I don't know if you remember this one. I don't know how long ago it was that it was made. There was one, and I couldn't believe it. It just pretty much disgusted me when I saw it. There was one. It was called Watts Apple Juice,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked like the Mott's apple juice box.
Mm-hmm.
And that was probably the most sickening thing as far as when it came to marketing that I think I've seen.
There was Uncle Bad Touch.
Oh
What?
my God, yes.
Oh, I don't remember that one, fortunately.
Well, that one got shut down the moment we saw it. Within 24 hours, that company ceased to exist. There was one literally called, like, any type of perverted, rapey thing you could think of.
Oh,
Oh.
Christ.
There was, like... what was it? It skeeves me out even thinking about it. But anyway...
As a parent, no.
Yeah.
As a parent, especially a parent with daughters, no.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
that one
why?
died very quickly.
There's no point to making.
Yeah.
And you figure for the longest time it was just we're talking about IP theft. That's like the last thing we even worry about now because there's so much other shit.
Mm-hmm.
Except
Like
it was because of the IP theft that a lot of this shit happened.
Yeah,
That's the
I mean,
problem.
it took them from it put us on the radar.
And
When
the
you
fact-
have a company in Chicago that's stealing Wrigley Gums logos, and you're in the city that Wrigley Gums made, yeah, like that was going to take all of about 10 minutes for him to put the lawsuit in on that one.
Right.
I mean, the fact that it's 2020, we're in the position we are. Multiple states have already fallen from flavor bans. And people are still arguing if labels are that bad.
Right.
I see this and I just want to like smash my head against the wall because of the stupidity that is in this industry sometimes.
I agree with you.
I mean, right
It's-
now, and this is me being, like I said, I've only been vaping for 2 years, and I vaped previously in 2010 for about 3 to 6 months. But as long as you tell me what's in that bottle, I don't care what kind of label's on my bottle. Tell me what the flavor is, whether it's cherry, raspberry, custard, non-custard, a fruit, a dessert, apple pie. Don't even put a picture, just apple pie. I'm good.
Well, you can't do apple pie.
Well,
You can't say food.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you could say it's number 26, and then there could be a book there that says number
Back
26
to
is this.
the old ways, where
Yeah.
the flavor names had absolutely nothing to do with what the flavor was.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, vape shops used to have these things called flavor books. I remember because I used to work in a shop that had flavor books, and I had to learn all the flavors. So someone came in and asked me, Oh, do you have any blueberries? Sure. Which ones do you want? Boom, 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 boom. Because vape shops actually used to give a shit and do their job. Now it's, what's hot? What's selling? Oh, that looks cool. I'll get that.
Mm-hmm.
I still have a shop in town that is still clearly selling to minors. And I'm just like, and no one get. I was literally, this was 2 Sundays ago. I was in there with my wife. She was getting her CBD. Well, actually, she wasn't even getting her CBD. She was getting CBD accessories. And this kid comes in that is in the same grade as my daughter, going into senior year of high school. He's 17 years old, going in there and buying pods. And I'm just looking, and my wife's telling me don't say nothing. I'm like, no, I'm blowing this up right now. I don't give a fuck. I know this kid, and I know what he's doing is illegal. I walk outside, and there just happens to be a state trooper sitting there parked right next to me. I said to him, I said, first of all, this is right after, a lot of the anti-police stuff. I said, I back the blue. I support you guys. You may want to go in there because this cashier is selling underage. He goes, all right, I'll look into it. He didn't do shit.
They don't care.
Mm-mm.
No.
No. States have been doing closed conference hearings, pushing these bills during lockdown. Don't feel your state is safe because of lockdown. It may be one hearing away from passing a flavor ban bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely.
We've seen them do it last minute in the middle of the night.
Yep, absolutely.
If you don't have a lobbyist right there up their ass making sure that things are staying kosher, you're in danger. And most states do not have that.
Well, a lot of states don't have fucking Jason either. No. Jason is probably one of the best lobbyists I've ever met, and one of the most savage ones at that.
Yes.
But
like when our attorney generals went after Juul, and they had the kid from High Point that everyone was saying, oh, this kid's such a victim, when the kid was supposedly vaping 10 pods a day of Juul. The motherfucker would have been dead by lunchtime. Don't give me this bullshit. He was selling them, and when he got caught, he said to his parents, "Oh yeah, I have this addiction." So they were pretty affluent. They sent him out to California to some rehab for nicotine addiction, and then they want to sue Juul for it. And I'm flipping out on the chat, and Sherwin messages me because Frank, calm down, everything's cool. This is political grants, and we got this. Don't even worry about it. Quit telling everybody that you're gonna fucking kill them. It's all good. I'm like, okay.
I mean, so one of the things that I advocate for a lot, have a relationship with your representative, with your senator, with your assemblyman. My assemblyman, I can go down to, well, not right now, but I could go down to his office and be like, hey, I got an issue I got to talk to you about. Sure, let's talk. He knows me. And I came in. I'm a vapor. I'm a voter. And he's like, hey, I'm for the vape industry. Let's talk. And I've had other representatives that I talked to went, I don't know about this whole vaping thing. It does this, this, this. No, it doesn't. Let me sit down and explain it to you. Let me show you some information. Oh, wow. Okay, do you mind if I call you if I have another question about this? Go ahead.
Please.
That is a big issue that
the
I see is you're right. That a lot of people don't realize. We pay these politicians' salary. We pay for everything that they have and they do. So we should be able to walk into their office and get an appointment. But you got some governors, some politicians that don't believe in that. They think they're entitled.
See,
we're paying their salary, but their salary isn't where all their income is.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So the one that's throwing the most money at them is the one that's going to get their point across.
Yeah, I've always seen it like the way I've always seen it is that they're supposed to be. We put them in office to kind of serve us, but they don't serve our interests at all. They serve their own agendas. If that makes any sense.
No, that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they've always done, is they serve their own agendas. I would like for just once a politician to tell me the truth. yeah, I'm going to say I'm for this, but I'm really not. But I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And you're going to vote for me because you think I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, all right, fair enough. You're being honest.
You know.
But if a politician told the truth, would we even believe him?
Would you even know?
Yeah, will we even know if he was actually telling the truth?
Well, that's the sad reality, but...
Yep. Absolutely.
The example is, if you're going to be crooked, at least just be honest and say that you're crooked.
Yeah, I'll tell a quick story. I had an overweight load. I was going around all the scales in Virginia. I did the same thing almost every week for this one customer in North Carolina. I was picking up all the cars in Jersey and New York and stuff, and going down. He pulls me over, going around the one scale in Roanoke, and pulls me into a shopping center. He goes, what are you doing over here? I said, I'm about 82,000. I'm going around the scale. Stopped him dead in his tracks. He was like, oh, you don't have a girlfriend or your mother or your cousin or your sister doesn't live over here? No, I'm going around the damn scale. I'm heavy as shit. He goes, well, where are you going? I said, Mount Airy, North Carolina. He goes, you know where to go from? Yeah, I've been doing it every damn week for the last 2 years. He's like, you know what? Be careful and get the hell out of here. You're the first person that ever told me the truth. It's amazing how far the truth will get you.
Yeah.
And that's something that politicians do not know how to do. So
He knew that if he drugged my ass back to the scale, he was gonna have to escort me back there, do all this bullshit for $75 in state revenue. It wasn't worth it to him.
Quick correction. Back when I said I was going to town of Amdu, it was town of Hempstead. Not Hempstead. God damn it. What the fuck was it? I forget. Town of Huntington. Town of Huntington.
Huntington. North Shore, okay.
Yeah. Amityville's
South Shore,
yeah.
27. And the other one's on 110. No, 25.
because I've been to multiple hearings in places, so they all are just. I was at some place, like this was also like close to fucking 4 years ago.
Yeah, they all mesh together. I mean,
oh man. Well, I don't want to end this show on a bad note, or not a bad note. There was no bad notes here. On a lighter note, let's do some quick fire questions. We typically do these. They're not usually vape related, just different aspects of different things. So, first question is Marvel or DC?
Both.
Both. Okay. Who's your?
You have different aspects. You have different aspects from either of them. You have the darker side of DC, but you also have a dark side of Marvel. Different powers, different characters, different everything.
Who's your favorite Marvel character?
Pass.
Pass.
Can't think of one right off the top of my head.
Me personally, I'm a Deadpool fan.
I'd probably say Deadpool, honestly.
He's probably my favorite.
He's the I don't give a fuck guy.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm assuming DC would be about the same answer. There's just too many.
Yeah.
Too many of them to. Okay, Wired Talk with Big G says Hulk. All right. Music. Top 3 favorite bands?
Lamb of God is definitely up there.
I already love you.
Slipknot used to be before they got too mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have top bands. I just listen to different songs from different people depending the mood I'm in. I mean, I'll listen to everything from Beethoven, Bach, all the way up to Dying Fetus, Cradle of Filth. I mean, it's just anything like rap, gangster rap, rock, metal, alternative, emo, grunge, anything. It just depends on what I like.
Absolutely. I'm
what you like that day.
I'm exactly the same way. Like you said, I could listen to Beethoven all the way up to. I can listen to everything except for one, and that's polka. I can't. I can't listen to polka music.
Even if it's, you know what? Even if it's just playing in the background, whatever. I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to listen to it, but I can find the beauty and the emotion of any music.
Okay.
But I do have Lamb of God in my CD player in my car.
What do you think about the
All
new
the
album?
Haven't heard it yet. I'm thinking about ordering it. Not sure. I'm still very much in the Ashes of the Wake era that I haven't fully accepted that there's anything else besides that right now.
Ashes of the Wake and Sacrament are probably my two favorite albums ever. I did like their Burn the Priest album.
Well, that's when they were Burn the Priest.
Yes, when they were Burn the Priest, not the one that they released like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, however long ago it was.
This is back when
Pre
you could barely
Lamb of
even
God.
hear anything except for just carnage and nonstop
Yep.
chaos.
Oh, Burn the Priest was so good. But yeah, I can listen to all of that stuff. Movies, favorite genre? Again,
Action, adventure, thriller, suspense, horror. Yeah, everything. I mean,
everything.
I'm
Okay.
Just a good movie. You know,
Yeah, a good movie. I mean, I can enjoy The Departed and The Irishman, and then I can enjoy Lord of the Rings, and then I can enjoy Chronicles of Riddick, and then I can enjoy
That's a good series.
like anything. I just like, oh, what am I feeling today? Oh, that looks good. All right, we'll watch that.
Absolutely. I'm a huge comedy fan. Like I watch a lot of stand-up comedy. I suffer from depression, and so during some of my low points, I find it's what they say. You know, laughter is the best medicine. You know, I find that it.
Laugh now, cry later.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I do. I throw on some stand-up comedy, and I changes my entire outlook for a while. Just brings me to a better place. Actors, favorites, any?
Not off the top of my head. Again, it depends on the role, depends on what I'm in the mood for.
Did you
Such
see?
and such was good in this movie, but he sucked in this movie.
Right. Like one of my favorite movies, I think. I think we've been through this. My top 3 favorite movies. My number 1 is Scarface, by far. Boondock Saints, close number 2, and then a little bit out of the ordinary, but still really good is The Wall from Pink Floyd.
I still gotta watch that Boondock Saints, man.
You haven't seen it yet?
No.
Oh man,
Watch
you're
the
missing
first one, then watch the second one. Back to back.
Yep,
Yes.
absolutely.
And I grew up a jock. I mean, I wasn't pretty good at football, so that's all I did. My favorite movie still to this day is the movie The Program. So, and that was a football movie from the 1997.
you were telling
Actually,
Mm-hmm.
it's based off. Actually, it's based off Boston. It's kind of based off Boston College. The team is-
The point shaving, right?
No, man, there's a lot going on in that movie. Linebacker on steroids, an African American dude who's set to be drafted number 1, buys his mom a knocker, big knocker, and his saying is, all you got to know how to do is sign the NFL contract. Yep. I used to say that shit all the time because that was my goal. I wanted to play professional football, and that movie, there's all kinds of different aspects to that movie. You got, like I said, a linebacker who's hooked on steroids, paints his face like a skeleton every game, and you see him go from on top of the world, ripping quarterbacks' heads off, to having to do a little oil change, literally an oil change, to pass a drug test, to coming off of the steroids, to where he can barely make a tackle. And the African American linebacker gets his legs chopped up from underneath him, broke both legs in a wheelchair, didn't go NFL, top story. So there's a lot of it's all right. I get excited when I think about that movie. It's a good movie.
Not wrong with that. That's good.
No.
You should get excited about something that's your favorite.
Football was my world back in the day. That's all I did.
Mine was baseball. Like one of my favorite movies of all time, is still The Natural.
Oh, yep.
Oh, now
based on the true story of Eddie Waitkus, who
Yes.
played for the Phillies in the 40s.
Now, once my son got, 4 or 5 and up, I got into coaching baseball and watching baseball. So I love to. I wish baseball would come back because I miss it.
Well, they started today. They started training today. The season's supposed to start on the 24th.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that's going to work, but okay.
How about you, Matt? Do you have
Give
a
up
favorite
my
sport?
Baseball career.
What happened to your baseball career, Matt?
I had to give up my baseball career because I was coughing up blood after every practice from smoking fucking 2 packs of cigarettes a day back in middle school.
Oh,
Wow.
jeez.
Yeah.
And I had talent, I was told I was gonna be the next Mike Piazza at the time, and because I was a catcher, and when I hit the ball, I fucking hit the ball, and it just got to the point that my coach was like, "Yeah, you're literally coughing up blood, like almost throwing up blood after practice." And I was
How old were you when you started smoking? I don't think we ever.
like, 8 years old.
Yep.
Wow. I didn't hear that part. Sorry.
By the
think
time I
it's
was
my kids
12,
come
I
in
was
here.
smoking a pack a day.
My kids come barging in here now, and so I kind of was.
So
preoccupied.
I take it that's your favorite sport then is baseball.
No, actually, baseball got ruined for me through my former ex-stepdad.
Okay.
It was kind of like a bonding thing, and then when we fell apart, the baseball kind of fell apart with it, and I lost my passion for it.
Okay.
I don't really, I mean, for football, I'm a Packers fan,
Okay.
but I don't like really follow football like that.
Right.
I have too much shit going on to be distracted by sports, to be distracted by anything really. It sucks, it's one of those things that, people can sit back and talk about sports like it's a religion almost, and I can talk about anything vaping, and
Yeah, that's me now.
that's my thing.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
me now because I work when I'm currently on medical leave due to a medical condition, but my company I work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so I had to sports. I don't get to watch anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mine's my favorite is hockey all time. The football and the baseball thing was kind of ruined for me a long time ago. I was forced to watch the games, and I really didn't want to. So I was like,
Yeah.
really turned off by those sports now. Basketball never interested me at all.
I never got anything in basketball. I played it back in like middle school and high school because I was forced to for gym.
Yep.
And because I was a baseball player, I could whip that basketball across the court. That was my height of basketball because I can't jump for shit. Even though I'm 6'4.5",
I'm
I
about to say
can't
you're a
jump
pretty big
for
guy, aren't you?
shit.
So
I was gonna say you are a tall guy.
The epitome of white men can't jump.
yeah,
Exactly,
I couldn't jump
exactly.
either. I had a mad hook shot, but I couldn't jump.
I would just throw the ball and hopefully not hit anybody in the head with it as it flew across the court.
I do not know when the NBA starts back up. Big G.
Wire Talk with Big G. I actually have still heard about that too. The new there's a new Riddick movie coming out.
Yeah, he's supposed to go back to Furia finally.
Yeah. I love those movies. So yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch that one.
Yeah. Oh man.
Start off with Pitch Black, and
Yep.
then Chronicles of Riddick, and then
Yep.
Riddick itself.
Yep.
That is probably one of my favorite actors. Vin Diesel. He's a damn good actor.
He really is.
He's
I like him.
typecasted though. That's the problem.
True.
Well, when you do 17 Fast and Furious movies, it kind of happens that way.
No, I mean even if you think about like A Man Apart.
Yeah.
He plays that type of role in all of his movies.
Daddy
the-
Daycare though.
The Bloodshot movie that just came out. That's an awesome movie if anyone hasn't seen that yet.
The new Bloodshot? Yes.
I haven't seen that one. No.
Loved that movie.
That one, I don't normally get surprised or I don't see something coming in movies. I usually am very good at picking up everything, and that one threw me for a loop, and I just went, oh, Okay.
Damn.
Yeah, no, definitely recommend that one.
Awesome. That I think is going to do it for us, guys. We've got an hour and a half on the books already. We're going to go ahead and say our final words here. Georgia boy, is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
Matt, it's been an honor. Thank you so much for everything you do, brother. I know you're hard in the forefronts of fighting the advocacy fight. Everybody out there, Georgia Boy Reviews, TFB Reviews has been absent. I've been dealing with some medical issues, but there's going to be some reviews coming up very soon. So keep a lookout and check me out, Georgia Boy TFB Reviews on Instagram, Facebook, the Georgia Boy TFB crew. And again, thanks everybody for watching, tuning in. Until next time.
Awesome. Frank?
Well, Chris, thanks for having me. Matt, it was awesome getting to hang out with you again. The last time I saw you was at the rally. Everyone out there, just continue to keep an eye on your states. Get on Twitter. I'm going to say you don't have to be creative. Just retweet. Just continue to get the messages out there because that's what's needed right now, especially with everything just still being a lull in a way as far as with the governments right now because of all the quarantines and what have you, all the restrictions. Come check us out Saturday night, so 9 p.m. Eastern. It's a hangout show. We do some mixing. We talk about current events, dick and fart jokes. So just hanging out, have a good time. Everyone seems to like it. We usually go 2 hours. If the beers are flowing good and the wife's not telling me to get off of there, we could go 4 hours. Depends on how it's going.
Nice.
Awesome. Matt, thank you very much again for being here with us. Do you have any final words for everybody? Give them the long and short of it. Keep fighting the fight. Do what you do.
Yeah, keep fighting, guys. It may seem like everything is against us because it is, but keep fighting. Get on Twitter. Get a hold of your legislator, your assembly, your senator, and form a relationship. Help those that are trying to get off cigarettes and spread the positive message about vaping. Educate people. Don't just be assholes about it, It's all about perception, and as much as I don't give a fuck what people think about me, I care what they think about this. Mm-hmm. So keep fighting and cut the bullshit between the infighting, and let's focus on an actual goal.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Anytime, Matt. You're more than welcome. I did want to ask one more thing real quick before we head out of here. Where can people find out more about advocacy and more about the Vaping Legion specifically?
Well, Vaping Legion definitely is not for everybody, so I'm not going to say go join the Facebook group.
Okay.
Check out our YouTube page, our YouTube channel, Vaping Legion Network. We should actually be doing a show tomorrow night that you don't want to miss. And then we're kind of back to a normal schedule. It should be every week or every other week for shows, usually on Saturday. But you can follow us on Twitter at Legion Vaping. Definitely, if you're not yet, become a member of CASA. It's free, CASA.org. You get updates. Join your state advocacy group if you are a manufacturer, a vendor, a shop, anything like that in the industry. If you are just a consumer, convince your shops to join.
Awesome. Again, Matt, thank you so very much for being on here with us. It's been a great pleasure, and it's been very entertaining and interesting having some talk with you on some of this advocacy stuff. I absolutely love it. We're going to continue fighting, guys, and that's the show that we've got for you all. Thank you all in chat for being champs like you are. Without you guys, we wouldn't have a show. So appreciate you all for being here. Thank you to the Spanners and Wrenches. You guys have done a fantastic job tonight as well. Working overtime, I know. But that's what we've got for you tonight, guys. Thank you so very, very much for tuning in. I've been Chris Lethal Coils. That's my boy Georgia Boy Reviews. Daytime Frank, and Matt the Reaper from Vaping Legion. Until next time, guys, next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, midnight in the UK. You guys will catch us right here again for another show next week. So with that being said, it's Wednesday, guys. We have 2 more days till the weekend, so there's not much that should have you down. But in case something does, please do remember that you are the master of your own destiny. You're the only one in this world that can pick and choose how positive or negative your days will ever be. So remember to keep that positivity high, keep the smile on your face, and let that negative brush off your shoulders. Till next time, fam, we love y'all. Have a great night. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. Keep vaping. And yeah, let's keep fighting for our right to vape, because if you don't, who will? Later, guys.